March 24, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. I deliberately took no trades today, and I also didn't take any trades yesterday. I did watch the charts. Today was very sideways, and also the only economic data that came out was at 6:45 Pacific Standard, which is about right here. We see some volatility, and it was the flash manufacturing PMI. Other than that, it was a very choppy day. Volume was so-so, and I took a break on Friday as well as yesterday and today. I didn't really take any trades, but I was kind of reviewing all my notes, reviewing all my trades, and I've decided that I'm probably going to be more careful on how I mark setups because just looking at my past performance, I've been marking a lot of setups that, in hindsight, even after the review at the end of the day, I look at it and then I look at it later on, like yesterday and the weekend. I've been marking some iffy trades, and I also have been taking some iffy trades. So I'm trying to slow my I guess my ambition and slow my eagerness to take trades, to wait for absolutely really good setups. Because what's been getting me in trouble is I've been taking some iffy trades, chasing it, and the other thing that I've come to be better at is thinking the trades that I take with a stop limit order. For example, if I wanted to go long here on this candle, oh, didn't mean to do that. For example, let's just say I wanted to go long on this candle for whatever reason. What I've been doing is I've been waiting for, let's say I want to go long after this red candle. I've been taking a limit order and then dragging it up, waiting for the break of this candle. Then I drop it in, and sometimes the trade moves away without me, and that does cause FOMO for me. And I end up chasing it, or I drop it early on the engulfing before this is successfully broken. It might just make a double top, and then I drop the order in, and that's pretty bad. So I'm going to start looking at dropping a stop limit order. Like if the trade looks perfect, then I should have no issue creating a stop limit order. Let's say if I want to enter on this one up here, waiting for this to close, then dropping it right there. And then that way, if it sweeps up, instead of watching it break, then dragging my order from down here all the way up, waiting for it to come back and pick me up. Because what has happened in the past is trades like that, when it does, when I chase it up and I drop it here, it moves up, hits my profit target of 6 ticks, if I'm going for 6 ticks, then comes back down. If it picks me up, you're asking, or I'm asking for the price action to move 6 ticks again, all the way back up. So I'm asking it pretty much to do it twice. Whereas if it already pulled back from my profit target of 6, probably it moved all the way up to 2 points, like 8 ticks. If it's pulling back, there's a higher chance that it might continue downwards and stop me out. So I need to be very careful of that. So anyways, I'm going to go into the trades right now. There aren't very many because I'm being more careful, trying not to, I guess, invent setups. And this trade doesn't really show up really well, like a high probability trade, that I'm not really going to mark it. So I ended up just marking one setup today. So in the pre-market, carryover from yesterday, because yesterday was just kind of this huge, it was a really crazy day yesterday. There's this huge ramp up and then kind of choppy sideways. So this is like, I think almost a 250 to 300 point move. And I think this is on the news that the Trump administration was going to stop or halt attacking Iran for a little bit because talks were beginning, or there was some positive news on talks. And then it kind of moved down and into the close. So in the pre-market, it looks like it was range bound, and I established this big range for the day, and it looks like it was pretty much just going sideways, although it was a pretty big range, about 90 points. So it pushes up, comes down, it kind of hits the sideways consolidation, hits this localized low. Didn't mean to drag this. This is localized low. It's the first entry short, second entry short, second entry short failure. It's too early in the day for me to want to take this. Higher low shows up here, but it's not very favorable in my opinion because you're going to run into a potential resistance right here. Hits the high side, pushes down, break. So it's the first entry long, pull back. You have a second entry long on this move down. but I don't really like this. Although it did tick below, it's kind of closing right at the EMA. EMA isn't super reliable yet, but it's still also early in the day. So in order for me to want to take a second entry long or to go even long here, I need a higher low, ideally successfully pushing up and out. Otherwise, I'm thinking this orange down channel is going to break and test the low, which is what it did. Here's the bottom. Looks like it was 2 legs up. Unfortunately, there was no second entry setup for me. I didn't really like the signal bar, so I was looking for a lower high. It doesn't really show up till about right here, but by that time, the lower high is too far from the setup for me to trust it. Plus, it's going to be selling into this potential support area. It's this double bottom support resistance area, creates a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but it's an inside bar, so I'm not a big fan of that. I consider it more likely a first entry short, pull back, visual second entry short, visual second entry short failure here, but it's not a good signal bar. I don't like there's too much tail here. Pushes to the high side, comes back down. I established this yellow up channel. It's moved since then. It's a little bit tighter. But I had it as a trend line. It looked like it confirmed pretty nicely, but there's no setup here. So it touches nicely here, pushes, makes a new high. Unfortunately, comes back down, confirms again, but there's no setup again here for me. Pushes up, break of the green up channel, test the high. So I'm thinking the up channel may have played out. There was a small break here, so I'm curious to see what was going to happen on this yellow support going up. And it comes down, it breaks through, and you actually get a first entry long here, pull back. You technically get a second entry long here, but in real time, when I see this as a signal bar, I don't like it. So I'm looking for a higher low. Unfortunately, the higher low never shows up. It pulls down to here. I thought there was some kind of support area right here, kind of established this potential triple test area. But this higher low, unfortunately, never comes down and touches this support before reversing back up. But I look at it and I thought, well, there is enough for a 6-tick scalp, but the setup just isn't fully there. You could argue it's like a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, but again, I'm not a big fan of these inside bars. So I saw it more as a visual first entry, and then your second entry long kind of shows up here, but again, you have an inside bar here. So again, I'm looking for a higher low. It never shows up. Pushes to the high side. Let me go ahead and squeeze this down a little bit. Pushes to the high side. It kind of starts moving sideways. Localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, again, a bad signal bar, looking for a higher low, doesn't show up. First entry long, again, just the first entry long, moves up what looks like this big green leg up. Again, you don't really have a second entry short, but when I see something like this, I'm not really looking to go short because it's too far from the EMA. It has to be a really awesome setup. Technically, this signal bar or this trigger bar ticked below this guy, but the way it closed is too high, but it's only a first entry short. By the time you get a second entry short here, the way I had it drawn, I'm selling into the support of this leg, so I couldn't do that. Then I'm looking for a lower high. Unfortunately, it creates another high here. So now I'm just waiting for things to clear out. Pushes down. You have a localized high, visual first entry long pullback, visual second entry long triple test. Technically, your second entry long was made after the break of this bar, and this is the signal bar I'd be watching, or I was watching in real time. It doesn't close well. The follow through is this doji. So now any thoughts of trying to take this trade long is abandoned. And finally, when it does get the triple test and engulfs this guy and it closes here, I feel like it was too late for me to try to chase this trade. I mean, I wasn't even going to trade today yet, but I was trying to imagine if I was trading. It's something that I wouldn't really like because it closed already here. So the only option I have now is looking for a higher low, but it does have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. So it's an almost trade. You don't get the higher low, and it already hits the high of this potential range. You technically have a first entry long here. You have a second entry long here, but this is a terrible signal bar. The follow through bar is terrible. So I'm not even thinking of failed second entry long because it's a failure means you're going to be shorting into this potential resistance area. It starts pressing down. I'm thinking you're moving down this orange down channel, reverses. I'm not sure why this big green candle shows up. Then it hits this kind of the sideways congestion. There are second entries, as with, I didn't mean to do that. There are second entries all over the place, but contextually they don't fit the what's going on, so I had to leave them alone. Starts moving up. Technically, you have a new high, first entry long here, second entry long here when it pushes above, but no trade for me there because it engulfs, yes, it engulfs the past two previous bars, but now it's making new highs in an area that I'm not sure of, so I have to leave it alone. Another sideways consolidation keeps pushing up. I established this green up channel at the time. Breaks. I'm expecting a test of this green up channel high. The first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. Again, is bad signal bar. I'm looking for a higher low. You might have a higher low here, but the follow through never ticks above it. So then it kind of pushes down, and I'm not thinking of going long anymore. It gets congested here, double dojis here, pushes the high side, fail breakout. Looks like it has two legs up and it starts reversing. Break this orange down channel. Instead of testing the low right away, kind of move sideways. So I was really cautious. But then as it continued dragging downwards, that's when I established this pink down channel. So it looks like a spike in a down channel, but it's not the cleanest. I mean, the price action is clean, but it's too congested, too tight here. Reverses up, first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short doji. I don't really like that. For me to consider going short, I need a lower high. This was the possibility, except it never broke below. It just kind of spiked upwards. So again, I'm just waiting. This is sideways consolidation. Just have first entry long here. When this sets up, I established this red dotted down channel trend line, and I established it as a potential larger channel down here, but I don't really trust this as a channel yet. I do believe that this trend line coming down could come into play. And if there's more bounce confirmations off the low side of this potential channel, then I would color it in. But right now, if I was trading this in real time, this is what I see. This is just what I have in consideration. Also keep in mind that EMA is trying to trend up. When prices move down on this orange down channel, technically you have a localized high, first entry long, but this looks very congested. So I reset the count and I saw it as a visual first entry, pull back. Didn't mean to drag that. Second entry, but second entry is still inside this down channel, so I'm looking for a higher low. The higher low never comes up to confirm until it gets to about right here. Now, I went back and forth on thinking, is this a valid higher low? I mean, clearly it's a higher low, without question. It is higher than that. That low is higher. But what threw me for a loop is there's a break here. So if this had, I'm going to fudge it right now. If this had a clean confirmation on this high side, then I'm thinking, yes, it's going to test the high side of this green up channel. But the way I had it drawn was a little bit tighter. So I thought this fail breakout, it might negate the possibility of a test of the high because it's only at first entry long. So seeing this as a higher low is a little risky. It pushes down. You do get a second entry long here, localized high, first entry long, second entry long below the EMA though. EMA is flat, so I don't really trust it too much, but it comes along and it sets up a possible trade that I think if I was actually trying to trade, I may have actually taken, but it's neither here nor there because I wasn't going to trade today. So what you see is a visual first entry short, pullback, second entry short, first entry long, new high, first entry long, second entry long, second entry long. Technically hasn't failed to about this one, but it looks like it's a second entry long that's losing steam. It's a rejection off this. So when I first saw this, I thought I trusted pretty well. Then when I saw these two confirmations, I said, this is a valid trend line coming down, but I need a clean setup. And the setup that I thought was viable was this one. So I saw it as a visual first entry long pullback, second entry long. Technically, second entry long hasn't failed on this green bar yet. It hasn't failed on this one yet, but it is creating a lower high. And at the time, I drew another potential trend line channel coming down because it looked like it fit pretty well. So the confluence of the rejection off of this, pushing back down, pushing through the EMA, looks like a visual, although it's not a confirmed, it's not really decisively like a push below. Looks like it is two legs up coming back down. Decent signal bar. I thought, and enough room to the lows. I thought this is a possible trade that would have been worth taking. In this case, it would have worked out awesome. And if you had a runner, or if I had a runner, I think I probably would have gotten stopped out by this green candle because I would have expected a push potentially down to this low. And I would have dragged it one stop, one tick below each subsequent high, which would have ended up probably stopping me out right here. So this is probably the one and only trade I think was for the day. Because other than that, I didn't really see any other good trades. at least for my experience level. So it's a localized low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. It looks kind of congested because the candles are small with big tails. This is low side, so I'm thinking there's a potential support area here. EMA is acting as a potential resistance here. It starts kind of breaking through. I drew this green shallow up channel, but I don't really have that much trust in it because it's too shallow. It's almost like a range. When I had this, I did establish this as a range. I think it's adjusted. It's moved slightly. I remember I did have this touch here because I saw there's a potential triple test. The high side, I'm not too sure of. Fail breakout here. Looks like it's one leg down, pull back. Potential second leg. So this could be a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but I don't like that this is inside bar. There actually could be one leg down, pull back, second leg with this failed breakout here. I was thinking it might create a corresponding failed breakout here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Speed this up. Here we go. It doesn't quite do it, but it looks like visual first entry long pullback, potential second entry long. I'm not a fan of these signal bars. And as it looks like it might be curling up, there was a higher low provided here, but it's a doji. So again, I'm not a big fan of that, but it did look like two legs down. Unfortunately, the signal bars just kind of stopped me from thinking there's a possible trade. And I guess congested breaks out. So it was ranging here, then it starts moving in its own range here. And this looks very congested. I didn't want to be involved in any of this. It starts moving up what I think is this yellow up channel because it looks like it's one touch, two touch, three touch, four touch. Also, the high side fits pretty well. Actually, I had a little bit lower. NinjaTrader does that. It causes the trend line and trend channels to kind of drift. Even if you don't do a day to reset, just throughout the day, these kind of drift. So it has one touch, two touch, three touch. I'm trusting this yellow up channel pretty well, but I'm looking for a possible setup. So you have a first entry long, maybe second entry, but I'm not a big fan of this inside bar. You do confirm second entry, but again, it just feels congested. Plus, I was thinking there's a potential resistance here, although there's a fail breakout of this range. But I was playing against I was debating whether which one was valid, this trading range or this yellow up channel. Because right now the yellow up channel looks pretty solid. It starts breaking through sideways. So I kind of thought, okay, maybe this yellow up channel has finished its potential move up because it's now moving sideways. This is the low side. Drag this out a little bit. No clean setups yet. You have a first entry short, potential second entry short, but I don't like that the signal bar is just too neutral. Again, it's just moving sideways. Okay, let's just go ahead and move this forward. Pushes up. There's really no clean second entries. You could argue for second entry here, but it's a signal bar isn't the best. But it was confirming this green up channel at the time, or at least the low side support of the green up channel. But that wasn't good enough for me. Pushes all the way up. Break of the green up channel. Technically, you have a first entry long here. You technically have a second entry long here. But this is such a big, decisive move on this orange down channel. Seeing this in real time, I was not going to try to buy right here when it could pretty much continue down on this orange down channel. Kind of pushes up, hits sideways again. I thought there was some kind of support area here, but it looks like it was one leg down, maybe two attempts up, and I was looking for a second leg down, but it never really quite shows up immediately. And I move sideways, localized low, first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short here. Again, I'm not a big fan of the signal bar, so it looks more like a visual first entry short. Pull back, second entry short. I was thinking in real time, was this a possible trade when I saw this? But I just didn't like the way this candle finished. And I wasn't sure this resistance here was valid because it did have a break of this green, testing the high, could be coming back down. Just the signal bar stopped me, just didn't really like it. And this range high wasn't fully confirmed yet. So it pushes down. You get a lower high here, lower high to confirm the second entry short, but it's too close to this potential support area. Break this orange, didn't mean to do that. Break this orange down channel has tested low and then it keeps going. And as I kept going, I ended up drawing this yellow down channel. There's no real clean second entries. There's a new low, first entry short. You could argue for a second entry short here, but again, it's inside to this. And I'm trying to really stay strict with my rules on being extra cautious on inside bars, no matter how good the bar looks. There's a fail breakout here and it continues down. I'm gonna go scroll to the end, pushes, and then it hits the last 10 minutes and closes, pushes into the close. And I'm not really sure what this big spike is all about because it looks like it moved about 75 points, which is kind of big. So that's kind of saw the charts today. I'm kind of resetting my trading to be a little, well, to be a lot more disciplined, a lot more strict, and trying not to chase trades. Because as I mentioned before, I've been struggling lately and been spinning my wheels. And I think part of it is trying to enter on limit orders. And after the break happens, then I try to chase my entry up. But I need to probably trade it more with stop limit orders, either at the highs or at the lows of a potential move. But in those cases, I have to be absolutely sure that the setup is clean. And I noticed that looking at my previous screen captures and videos, I've been kind of taking some mediocre trades. Some trades weren't even good at all. They were just kind of garbage trades, and I just jumped on it because I had a hunch. And I think it's fine to trust your gut and hunches, but right now my hunches aren't. They don't have this experience backing them up to be solid hunches. Right now they're just things that I see and I don't want to get left behind. So it's more likely motivated by FOMO. So going forward, I'm going to try to take it a little bit more carefully, a little more slowly. Really only mark trades that I think are absolutely there. And yeah, go from there. So hopefully that was helpful.